Hello, and welcome back to Lyre. We have our dinner, our audience. I don't remember the name with the king. Yeah, he's a lad. I like his coat. I also like how devious this little lad is. I can't wait for him to stab a character. That's just the feeling I get, and I want it to happen.
Since we are still waiting for our ambassador from Dries, I assumed that we could use this time for introductions.
He looks at me with a reassuring smirk. I'm still recovering from the random burst of tense energy, so I just nod in agreement. After a few minutes, the door swings open. Three servants walk in, pushing small carts with food placed on them. Ooh, that's a turkey or a chicken or a large chicken. There's carrots. Wait, is that bread I see off to the side? Oh shit. And not in a sandwich form. Pure, beautiful bread. It's good. I like it. They begin to move all of the food to the table. There's a large roasted turkey sitting in the center of the table, surrounded by greens and potatoes. They smell delicious, and I can clearly see the steam coming off of them. Grapes of a rich purple color are placed on a plate near the center, and there are bowls of different dressings. A large bowl with a salad is placed on the table. The vegetables are layered perfectly and is drizzled in oil and vinegar. There is also a plate of crisp bread rolls. Oh, they're rolls? Okay. The smell reminds me of a bakery. Yeah, of the bakeries back home. Finally, a large pot of soup is set next to our table on a cart. The servants start to make our plates. I watch them take a little bit of everything and place it on mine. One of the servants walks towards with a pitcher of wine and refills my cup. After a while, everyone had been served their food. My plate is filled with just about everything. It's a lot of food, and I don't know if I'll be able to eat it all, but I just figure I'll eat as much as I can. Reiner's plate has a big steaming potato and a salad bowl with grapes on the side. Adrius opted for a single bowl of soup. We eat for a bit before Reiner speaks up.
So, how are things in Iron?
I'm gonna start saying iron. Iron? Iron.
I haven't been to the Kingdom of Iron in about 10 years.
Aaron? Aaron sounds really funny. I take a moment to finish chewing the piece of turkey in my mouth. It is turkey. I'm afraid you haven't missed out on much. Aaron hasn't changed, and I don't think it will change for a while. The climate is as favorable as ever, and our citizens continue to thrive. I fear that I'm rambling, but when I make eye contact, I see that he's giving me his full attention and seems interested in the topic. Meanwhile, the prince sits across the table from me, picking away at his soup with a look of disinterest on his face. I'm told that our Aaron Ed has managed to supply both Dries and Lyre, Dries and Lyre, with an abundance of food. We are fortunate to have such fertile farming lands, and very glad to be able to support our neighboring kingdoms, especially with winter drawing near. Smooth. Reiner takes a sip of wine and leans back in his chair.
I agree on that matter. It is very important that we work together. The people of Lyre know better than anyone how harsh winter can be.
I'm sure that you do. He gives me a slight smile and leans forward, taking a bite from his salad.
And we have your people to thank for this food.
I nod in agreement, tipping my wine glass in his direction. We continue to eat while having conversations about our common interests. Yeah, excuse me. He seems to be very interested in me, which is new because I've never thought I was that interesting. I guess being in this castle all this time makes him want to live vicariously through others. That's a stretch though, and I might be overanalyzing. The prince has been quiet for most of the time, interjecting with his thoughts occasionally. So, what exactly do you do and how did someone like you achieve nobility? He asks this with a look of disdain. I'm starting to dislike him more and more as the night goes on, but he's funny. I lower my glass after taking a drink and pause to swallow. Your Highness, I'm afraid that is not a very interesting story. He doesn't look satisfied with that answer. Lyle told me to get on his good side, but I don't think he has one. He seems to be bitter all around. I suppose. He traces his finger around the rim of his wine glass while resting his chin on his fist. I just worked hard and provided myself useful. Proved myself useful.
Speaking of hard work, I have some important news for you, Lord Richter. I am choosing to appoint you as a royal financial advisor, along with your other duties. Do you think that you will be up to this challenge?
I fold my hands and respond calmly. I have experience with this sort of work back home. It shouldn't prove to be a challenge at all. He looks to be very pleased to hear that.
That is excellent news. The winter solstice ball will be held a month from now, and we'll need to figure out the expenses. It should be quite exciting for you, considering you've never been to one.
The winter ball solstice.
Yes, here in Lyre it is one of our most famous celebrations. We celebrate the solstice as a reminder of a death and rebirth of our sun. We use this time to cherish our loved ones.
That sounds really nice. I'll make sure that everything is in order.
Very good. We have past records on hand that you can refer to. I'll have them sent out to your apartment in the morning.
Our meal goes into the night, and soon everyone is finished eating. I can feel a cold draft from the window behind me and crickets chirping. I didn't eat everything on my plate, but I still feel full. Reiner gets up from his seat and steps forward, holding out my hand. I'm taken aback by the gesture, but I reach out. He takes my hand in both of his and shakes it up and down once with a firm grip.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Lord Richter. I do hope that you enjoy your stay here, however long it may be.
Thank you, you're Reiner? I gather myself and look towards the prince, who is standing across the table. I give a bow in his direction. It was an honor to meet you, Your Highness. He gives me a slight smile. However, I don't feel that it's authentic. You're too kind. It was nice meeting you too. One of the servants opens the door and Lyle walks into the room. I wish the both of you a good night. I give a bow to both their directions and then make my way to the door. Lyle stands near the doorway, and as I make my way over, he gives me a wink with a soft smile. We walk through the doorway, and I spot Reiner giving Adrius a despondent look before the door is closed.
I assume everything went well.
He places his paw on my shoulder with a reassuring smile. Well, I wouldn't say that it went bad. You're looking at the new financial advisor.
That's good.
Oh, there's like a painting of them. That's cute. I'm about to respond when I spot a painting of Reiner and Adrius. Reiner is looking off to the distance with a solemn look on his face, while Adrius confidently glares forward. I'd say the artist captured them perfectly. I see it as a good opportunity, and I don't think it should be too hard.
Okay, but how did it go? Dinner with the king.
I don't really know how to feel about it. He's certainly a nice person. I can imagine that he is a good king. He's got an understanding head on his shoulders.
I agree. He is a great king. He has wisdom and kindness, unparalleled with others.
The prince, on the other hand, Lyle rolls his eyes at the mention of the prince.
He's not the most pleasant person to be around. And he surely doesn't treat me with any respect.
Really? We moved out into over to one of the windows. He rests his paw on the sill, and one of his ears twitched just slightly. I can feel the cool night breeze blowing through my hair and on my face. I think he's called me by one of wait.
I think he's called me by my name once.
What does he call you? He sighs, tapping his paws on the brick.
Wolf, dog, and hound, just to name a few.
Well, that makes him ignorant. You're only one of those things.
Yep, 100% pure. A Lyrian, a wolfman, right here.
He bangs his fist on his chest, clinking the metal plate. I laugh and he chuckles to himself timidly.
But I don't think he'll be a problem. Aside from being annoying.
I'll steer clear of him either way. We continue to walk, with Lyle in front, leading me through the maze of corridors. I watch the tip of his tail brush the floor from under his cape. We descend a flight of stairs, and our walk begins to slow.
I'm glad that we can enjoy each other's company.
He fiddles with one of his gloves, pulling the forceps. Give me a moment. Shut a minute. I don't know what this word is. I'm gonna Google it. For old time's sake. Yes, this word.
Fourchette.
Fourchette?
Fourchette.
Okay. A thin fold of skin at the back of the vulva.
Vulva.
The vulva. Okay. Of his fingers, and then pulls the gloves back down on his paw by the trank.
It gets very lonely in this castle. It's hard to have friends when you're the captain of the Royal Guard. Things are nice, but I barely have any time to meet new people or go places.
He pauses, letting the words hang in the air.
I'm sorry if this comes off as a bit cold, considering I met you only yesterday, but I'm looking forward to working with you, Rickard. No, Richter.
We arrive at the door to my room, and he stands there waiting for me to say something. I feel the same way. I've only known you for 2 days, but I already think I know you better than anyone back home.
Really?
Yeah. Back in Iron, people only want things from you, and if you don't have what they want, then they don't even give you the light of day. You're the first person I feel wants to actually be my friend, and isn't just trying to use me. I open the door to my room and step inside. Good night, Lyle. He looks at me with a soft smile, his eyes reflecting the light, the little light that there is in the darkness. I can hear his tail beating against his cape, and it wags behind and back and forth.
Good night, Richter.
He closes the door, and I can hear his heavy footfall make their way down the hall. I take off my jacket and walk over to my bed, falling onto the mattress. I feel exhausted after everything that happened today. Everything fades out around me as I drift into a deep sleep. Okay. Do I have to press a button? Is this a load screen? Is this timed? I'm gonna hit a button. Okay, there we go.
That'll be the death of you. Betrayal never comes from your enemy, but from those closest to your heart. And it always starts with trust.
Chapter 3, day 6. I don't know. I don't know. Was that an apple? Duh. Bath time. Okay. It's almost been a week since I've woken up. The weather gets colder and colder every day, and I find myself yearning for a warm bath every morning when I wake up. Yo, same. I'll settle for a shower, though. The past couple of days have been pretty relaxing, to say the least. I've had plenty of time to work on my preparations for the ball, and I've been taking it at a nice pace. Well, a pace that's nice for me, at least. All I really have to do is make sure the resources are readily accessible and calculate the cost of everything. I mean, there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. I've been wandering around the castle with Lyle on my free time. Although I rarely allow myself free time, but every day I do take a break. He's been very good company the past couple days, and he's been showing me around. We haven't gone into the city yet, but I've been able to explore most of the castle. Lyle has managed to cause my inner child to break out as we laugh and joke while walking through the halls. It's funny how he's supposed to be my guard, yet so far he's been my glorified guide. I do appreciate the assurance, though, and having someone there to keep me company and show me around is really nice. It's a good thing that we get along. I'd hate to do this thing to feel too professional. Wait, I'd hate for this whole thing to feel too professional. That is what that says. The other day, he took me to the tallest tower, where you could see the entire city and Fjord. His fur was blowing in the wind, and he had the dreamy look, that dreamy look in his eyes. I've spoken to Reinar a couple times. I'm not too sure how I feel about him. He's very kind and seems to have his wits about him. There's still something very intimidating about him, though. At the beginning of every interaction with him, I start things out anxious, but then he manages to completely change the mood of the room. I guess he's just a big friendly guy. I've run into Adris a few times during the week. He hasn't paid me much of mind, aside from the occasional greeting, and I honestly prefer it that way. No, talk to him, it'll be funny. Punch him in the snoot. But with the few interactions that we've had, where it would have been extremely awkward if we didn't talk, it felt more like an interrogation. He's constantly asking me questions about Earn. I have a feeling that he doesn't talk with people much. I also feel like the more I avoid him, the better. And then there's Leaf. I haven't seen him much. It's sad. I passed him in the hallway once, and we had a chat that wasn't too interesting. He's probably busy with his own work, which makes me feel like I've been too relaxed lately. I should probably crack down on my work as well. I get out of the bath and turn off the water. No, excuse me. I don't feel as sticky this time, since I only used a bit of soap. Walking over to one of the benches, I grab a towel and begin to dry myself off. I run the cloth down my body and between my legs, making sure I get all of the water off my body. It's very cold in here, and I know that it's even colder out there. I dress myself and leave through the door. Immediately, the cold hits my face, and I start to speed walk back to my room. It's a crisp fall afternoon, and the sun is casting a warm hue on the trees below. My footsteps echo down the hall as I get closer to my bedroom. I reach the door, and when I open it, I'm blasted with warm air from my room. When I enter the room, Lyle is leaning back in one of the padded chairs, rocking it on its back legs. Okay. I close the door behind me and lean against it. There's no fire. How is it so warm in here?
Well,
He leans forward in his chair.
the castle is built above a hot spring. It's where we get the water for our plumbing. The water runs through the pipes built into the walls, and the heat rises through the foundation.
His demeanor slowly transitions into one of a happy child who is explaining something they're very interested in.
It heats up the castle, which can be very nice during the colder seasons. It can be real pain in a butt during the summer, though. My room will sometimes get so hot that I have to sleep with the covers off and the windows open.
I bet that's certainly a sight. That's actually really interesting and ingenious.
Oh, thanks. It's also why there are so many plants growing within the castle.
He gestures to all of the leaves and vines on the walls.
During this time of year, plants like to slowly work their way inside the castle walls, seeking warmth. It's not really a problem for any of us, and Reiner does love his plants.
Yeah, I've noticed. My room alone is decorated with potted flowers, but I've seen way more plants scattered throughout the castle's many corridors and rooms. All right, I'm going to end the part here, everyone. So I'll see you around.